Welcome to the deep dive. Are you dreaming of standing under the northern lights, maybe exploring a snowy wonderland, or even meeting Santa Claus in person?
Sounds amazing, right?
Exactly. But perhaps the thought of planning every single detail of an Arctic adventure feels, well, maybe a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it can seem daunting. So much to coordinate.
Today, we're hoping to cut through some of that noise. We've got a stack of sources here that explore a fascinating solution, really centered around one specific and pretty unique travel experience. Our mission today is basically to unpack everything about FinlandTour.fi. They're a company promising these really magical experiences, and we're focusing specifically on their 12 days Finland tour from Singapore.
Right.
We're going to look at the company itself, their philosophy, and then really drill down into the meticulously planned itinerary for this trip, what makes it tick.
And what's really compelling here, I think, is how these sources paint such a complete picture. It's not just, a list of sites. It gets into the thinking behind their whole approach and the complicated dance of putting together a multi-day Arctic adventure. We'll explore the why behind what they offer and, importantly, the practical stuff for you, the listener, who might be dreaming of snow but wants it to be, smooth sailing.
So, if you're picturing yourself out there in those breathtaking winter landscapes, but without the headache of coordinating every single step, let's dive deep into how this tour aims to make that dream a stress-free reality. Okay, before we get completely swept away by thoughts of reindeer and auroras, it's probably worth understanding the team behind it all. Who exactly is FinlandTour.fi?
Good question. The sources are pretty clear. They operate under a company called Eurotrail LLC.
Okay.
And they really stress that they're a local Finnish tour operator based right there in Finland.
Right, and that seems important. This immediately brings up a key point for anyone thinking about a trip like this.
Yeah.
Why book with a local Finnish company like them?
Well, the sources highlight their Book Direct campaign. It's aimed squarely at you, the traveler.
Uh-huh.
They use this example, comparing a Mr. Tan who booked through agents versus a Mr. Shan who booked direct. They argue that going through middlemen can lead to what they call double taxes and extra commission.
Which means...
It just makes the trip more expensive for you, essentially.
And that's where Mr. Shan comes in, right? The sources say he booked directly.
Exactly. And reportedly, he saved money. But maybe even more importantly, he had direct contact with the actual tour operators on the ground.
Ah, that makes sense. Simpler, maybe more reliable.
That's the idea, especially for a trip like this, Arctic conditions, lots of moving parts. Having that direct line offers a level of reassurance, maybe flexibility if things change, that you just don't get with layers of agents. It really points to a core value for them. Transparency, direct service.
Cutting out the middleman, basically.
Pretty much. If we connect this to the bigger travel picture, it really shows the value of understanding that supply chain. FinlandTour.fi positions itself as the direct provider, aiming for a seamless, value-for-money experience.
And they handle everything themselves.
It seems like it. They mention their team. Aniki in operations, Damien is product manager, Edith Saren, who's a co-founder and head of operations. That direct involvement seems key to how they work.
It's not just winter stuff, is it?
Yeah, well, that's interesting, too. They offer the winter Northern Lights experiences, obviously, but also summer midnight sun tours. So they're positioning themselves as a year-round guide to Finland.
Okay, so that gives us a good picture of the company. Let's switch gears now to the main event. This 12 days Finland tour from Singapore.
Right, the story of the show.
It's laid out as 11 nights, 12 days, and interestingly, it's structured for a pretty small group size, just 2 people.
Yeah, that jumped out at me, too. It immediately suggests something more intimate, maybe even tailored, rather than, being stuck on a big coach tour.
Definitely a different feel. And the price.
The starting price is listed at 6,200 euros,
Okay.
which works out to roughly 9,000 Singapore dollars per adult. So it gives you a clear benchmark for the investment needed for this kind of premium, comprehensive trip.
And who's it aimed at? The sources say families, couples, adventurers. Promising those landscapes, snow activities, cultural bits. What stands out to you in terms of its appeal?
What's really striking is how consistent the positive feedback is. It gets a 4.5 out of 5 rating from 4 reviews, all excellent or very good.
That's pretty solid.
It is. And they're not just vague praises. People consistently mention specific highlights that match what the tour promises. The king crab safari, the igloo stay, that sounds amazing for couples. Santa Claus Village, obviously huge for families. The Arctic Circle crossing, snowmobiling, These are specific, memorable things people are calling out.
So it seems like it delivers on those varied promises.
Yeah, the consistency across those different types of highlights is quite telling. It suggests they're hitting the right notes for different kinds of travelers.
Okay, let's really unpack this itinerary then. You mentioned it's not just a list. It sounds like a carefully planned journey. Starts in Helsinki, goes north, comes back down.
Absolutely. That flow seems designed to minimize wasted travel time, but maximize the different kinds of experiences you get.
Makes sense.
And something I found really useful, and probably great for you as a traveler, is they specify a hectic level for each day.
A hectic level. Tell me more.
Yeah, it ranges from low, like your arrival day or maybe some leisure time, up to high for days, with big transfers or lots of activities packed in.
Huh. That's actually brilliant. Helps manage expectations.
Totally. When you need to be ready for a busy day versus when you can maybe relax a bit more.
So like day 4 is listed as high hectic level. It's a transfer, then straight into a reindeer sledge Northern Lights hunt. What does that mean for me as a traveler? Am I going to be exhausted?
Well, that's exactly what the hectic level prepares you for. It signals, okay, this is a day with significant travel, but we're immediately launching into a really cool activity. So yeah, you'll hit the ground running. But the idea is the payoff. That magical reindeer sledge hunt under the potential aurora makes the intensity worthwhile. Shows they've thought about traveler energy levels, which is pretty considerate.
Okay, I like that. Let's walk through some of the highlights then, day by day, see how this choreography plays out.
Sound good.
Days 1 and 2, you arrive in Helsinki, settle in, then bam, a domestic flight straight up to Kirkenes, already deep in the Arctic.
Yep, straight into the action.
Day 3, that king crab safari we mentioned sounds like a major highlight, really unique. Getting out on the ice, part of the catch.
Definitely an Arctic signature experience.
Day 4, the high hectic one. Transfer to Saariselka, but then immediately that reindeer sledge Northern Lights hunt. Lighting through snowy forests. Sounds pretty magical after a travel day.
A real contrast, isn't it? From
Okay.
transfer logistics to silent sledding.
Day 5, more thrills. A 2-hour snowmobile safari in Saariselka, getting that adrenaline fix.
Right, carving through the snow.
Day 6, another high hectic day. Transfer to Rovaniemi, the heart of Lapland, basically. And another Northern Lights hunt. But this time by bus, maybe a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, different approach to chasing the aurora. Rovaniemi is the main hub for Lapland activities.
Day 7. This has got to be a core part for many Santa Claus Village.
The big one.
Meet Santa, cross the Arctic Circle line, husky sledge ride. They even specify 500 meters, so a quick, exhilarating burst, and visit Snowman World.
It packs a lot into one day, but it's all those iconic Lapland moments together.
That's in day 8. This sounds truly unique, the Icebreaker Cruise.
Oh yeah, this isn't just a ferry ride.
No, watching this massive ship crunch through solid ice, and then you can actually float in the icy water in a special survival suit.
Exactly. That was specifically called out as thrilling in one review. It's a really unusual, powerful experience.
Day 9, a bit different. A visit to Ranua Zoo to see Arctic wildlife. One reviewer called it a lovely cultural touch, seeing animals adapted to the cold.
A nice change of pace, focusing on the region's fauna.
Days 10 and 11, heading back south. Fly back to Helsinki, and then a half-day trip to Porvoo.
Right, that charming old town near Helsinki.
A guided tour there, some free time. They even mention a specific spot for Singaporean food, Tropa's Hub, if you're missing home cooking.
That's a nice specific touch.
And finally, day 12 is departure from Helsinki, end of the journey.
Phew. It's an incredibly packed, diverse itinerary. And the sources do back this up. Travelers like Limcart mentioned appreciating just the right balance of activities and free time.
So mostly well-paced.
Generally, yes. It aims to give you a huge range without constant rushing. Although, as fair to mention, one reviewer, Hiroshi, did feel some bits were a bit rushed. It's always a tricky balance with so much to see and do.
Sure, understandable. Okay, so we have this amazing itinerary mapped out, but let's talk brass tacks. What's actually included in that $6,200 price tag, and what do you, the traveler, need to sort out yourself?
Right, the practicalities. The sources are pretty good on this. Included are all your hotel stays. That's 1 night Helsinki, 2 Kirkenes, 2 Saariselka, 4 in Rovaniemi, then 2 back in Helsinki.
Okay, accommodation sorted.
Yep. And crucially, those domestic flights within Finland are included. Helsinki to Kirkenes, and Rovaniemi back to Helsinki.
That's significant.
Huge. Plus all airport transfers and those private outstation transfers between locations. That really smooths things out. Means you're not trying to figure out taxis or buses in the Arctic cold.
Definitely takes the stress out. And the activities.
All those ones we walked through, King Crab, Reindeer Sledge, Snowmobile, Rovaniemi Northern Lights Tour, Santa Claus Village, Ranu Zoo, and that icebreaker cruise. All in.
What about the Porvoo tour?
Yes, the half-day Porvoo tour is listed as included too. There was one minor mention of a Turku tour in an inclusion list, but the detailed day-by-day itinerary clearly shows Porvoo, so we should stick with that as the accurate plan.
Got it. Now, what about insurance? I saw a slight contradiction there.
Yes, good catch. The main excluded list says insurance is excluded, but then the FAQ section very clearly states, and I'm quoting here, no insurance is included in the tour cost.
Okay, so which is it?
Based on the specific Q&A format of the FAQ, I'd lean towards that being the most direct answer for the traveler. So it seems travel insurance is part of the package, which is a big plus, one less thing for you to arrange.
Definitely. Okay, what's not included then? International flights, meals, visas.
Right. International flights to get you to Helsinki from Singapore and back home are not included. FinlandTour.fi can suggest options, but you book those yourself.
Makes sense. Visas for Singaporeans.
Good news there. As Finland's in the Schengen area, Singapore passport holders typically don't need a visa for stays up to 90 days within a 180-day period.
Okay.
But you do need the usual checks. Passport valid for at least 3 months beyond departure, 2 blank pages, proof of onward travel, enough funds they suggest around €30 a day as a guideline, and proof of accommodation, which the tour provides.
Standard Schengen stuff. And meals.
Lunch and dinner are specifically not included, so we'll need to budget for those. Gives you some flexibility to try local restaurants, though.
True. And paying for the tour itself.
Seems pretty flexible. You can pay from anywhere, secure online gateway. They even say you can ask for payment links in currencies other than euro, which is helpful for international folks.
Okay, that covers the practical side. But beyond the itinerary and inclusions, what really paints the picture are the stories from people who've actually done it right.
Absolutely. Those testimonials really bring it to life. And the sources have quite a few positive ones.
Like who?
Well, Ilan M. from Singapore called it absolutely fantastic and seamless. Another Singaporean, Noren, also used that word seamless, praised the warm and friendly professionals and described it as feeling like magic.
Like magic, that's quite an endorsement for the logistics.
It really is. It suggests they handle all the background stuff so well that you can just enjoy the experience.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Li V, a Chinese traveler, echoed that sense of magic, specifically mentioned husky sledding, reindeer encounters, the icebreaker, and called the Northern Lights absolutely breathtaking.
Nice.
And they emphasized how FinlandTour.fi handled every detail with precision, making it worry-free. That seems to be a recurring theme, taking the stress out of a complex trip.
And there was an Indonesian traveler, too.
Yes, Shane. Praised the meticulous planning hotels, transfers, tours, calling it a truly luxurious travel experience.
So putting it all together, the reviews seem to strongly reinforce that the tour delivers on those promises of unique Arctic adventures and, crucially, a really well-managed, smooth experience.
Exactly. It seems that direct booking model we talked about earlier really translates into that coordinated, high-quality, worry-free execution on the ground. It gives you a pretty strong sense of what you'd be getting.
So we've taken a real deep dive today into FinlandTour.fi and their 12-day Finland tour from Singapore. We've looked at the company's focus on direct booking, why that matters in terms of transparency, cost, and maybe reassurance for you. We've explored this really jam-packed itinerary from king crab safaris right up north, down to Santa's village, with unique things like the icebreaker and even helpful tools like that hectic level guide.
Yeah, covering a huge amount of ground and experiences.
And we've heard directly from travelers who found it seamless, magical, and worry-free.
And I think what really stands out is how they managed to package so many incredibly distinct, almost once-in-a-lifetime experiences floating in icy seas, chasing auroras, meeting Santa into one coherent, apparently smooth adventure for you.
It's quite an achievement logistically.
Definitely.
Which brings us to a final thought, something for you, our listener, to maybe mull over. In a world just flooded with travel options, endless websites, information overload, How much real value does a meticulously planned, almost turnkey itinerary like this actually offer? Does it succeed in transforming what could be a really complex travel dream into a stress-free reality, freeing you up to just soak in the magic without getting bogged down in the details?
It's that trade-off, isn't it? Planning effort versus immersive experience, buying peace of mind along with the adventure.
Exactly. Food for thought. That's all for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.